Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Oh, here.
Good day everyone. Welcome to our museum. Do you know who is in the wall? Well, he is Erik Erikson, a German-American psychologist who created the most famous theory about lifespan development of human.
But before we share his story and theory, we introduce ourselves first. Hello everyone, I am Michael Tantuan.
And I am Rianson Caldaera, and we are the representatives to share the Erikson knowledge about his human development. Are you ready? Well, okay, let's go.
So what is human development? So it is the process of enlarging people's freedoms and opportunities to improving their well-being. So meron iba't ibang uri ng proseso ng human development. Ano-ano po ba iyon?
First is the physical development na kung saan makikita ang unti-unting pagbabago sa ating katawan simula ng infant hanggang sa ating pagtanda. Halimbawa na lang ang pagtangkad at pagbabago ng boses ng isang tao.
We have also the psychosocial development na ginawa ng isa sa pinakasikat na psychologist sa mundo. No other than the man in the wall, Mr. Erik Erikson. At yun ang tatalakayin natin ngayon.
Who is Erik Erikson? He is a German-American ego psychologist who developed one of the most popular and influential theories of development.
And what theory is that? That's right, the psychosocial development theory. But before that, I want to share some story and trivia about Erik Erikson.
Erik Erikson was born in Frankfurt, Germany on June 15, 1902. He studied art and several languages. At habang nagpe-paint siya ng mga children's portrait, doon niya nakilala si Sigmund Freud, isang kilalang founder of psychoanalysis at nag-create ng psychosexual theory, isang uri din ng human development. So Erikson's theory of psychosocial development was influenced by Freud's theory, which is the psychosexual development.
Para naging inspirasyon niya pala si Sigmund Freud sa paggawa ng theory na ito. Wow! At ayan, nalaman na natin ang istorya ni Erik Erikson. So let's proceed to his theory. So everyone, psychosocial development.
Psychosocial development. It addresses development across the entire lifespan, from birth through death. The individual deals with a conflict that serves as a turning point in development.
Katulad nga ng iba pang human development, ito ay nagsisimula nung tayo ay isinilang hanggang sa tayo ay tumanda. Every changes and every stages ay nagkakaroon ng mga conflicts. But aside from that, every stages also have a perspective in order to achieve identity strengths. So which he defined as virtues. So ano-ano nga ba ang mga virtues sa bawat stages? Halika, alamin natin.
And now, let's proceed to the 8 stages of psychosocial development, the theory of Erik Erikson. The stage 1 is infancy, the trust versus mistrust. This psychosocial development occurs between birth and 1 year of age. And this is the most fundamental stage in life because an infant is utterly dependent. Developing trust is based on the dependability and quality of the child's caregiver. This stage begins at birth, continues to approximately 18 months of age. Ang bata ay lubos na umaasa sa mga may sapat na gulang na tagapag-alaga para sa lahat ng kanilang kailangan upang mabuhay kabilang pagkain, pagmamahal, init, kaligtasan at pag-aalaga. If the care the infant receives a consistent, predictable and reliable. Magkakaroon sila ng pakiramdam ng pagtitiwala na magdadala sa kanila at sa iba pang mga relasyon. And they will be able to feel secure.
So, let's move on to the next stage, which is toddlerhood.
Toddlerhood stage, 18 months to 3 years old. It is the stage where the children learn the activities on their own, without the help of the parents, like to control the elimination of body waste. The conflict is autonomy versus shame and doubt, while the virtue is will.
In this stage, merong mga parents ang na-upset sa mga ginagawang activities ng mga bata. So, ang dahil dyan, nangyayari, sila ay nagiging self-sufficient on their development. On the other hand, meron rin mga parents naman isinahayaan ang isang bata to solve on their own. So, ang mangyayari dyan, ang bata is magkakaroon ng confidence. At dito napapasok ang virtue, which is the will, or a child's ability to express his or herself by doing things on their own. Next is the stage of early childhood.
Early childhood. It tends to occur between 3 to 6 years old. The psychosocial crisis is initiative versus good, and its virtue is purpose. During this stage, children needs to begin asserting control and power over the environment. Children take a step from spontaneously doing things on their own to setting goals and working toward them. Kapag ang isang bata is gustong matuto how to ride a bike because he or she wants to go on the place that he or she wants. So we all know this situation is a risky behavior for an early childhood stage. Merong mga times na the child will fall on his bike and gets hurt. So dito napapasok yung guilt moment dahil hindi niya nagawa makapunta sa gusto niyang lugar. So ang mangyayari is uuwi siya then act aggressively toward his or her parents.
He defined the virtue of this stage as purpose. Why? Because early childhood have a goal or reason for performing certain behaviors.
And the fourth stage of psychosocial development is late childhood, the industry versus inferiority. It takes place during an early school years from approximately 6 to 12 years old. This social interaction, children begin to develop a sense of pride in their accomplishment and abilities.
Children are at the stage where they will be learning to read and write, to do sums, to do things on their own. Teachers begin to take an important role in the child's life as they teach the child specific skills. If children are encouraged for the initiative, they begin to feel industrious at makadama ng tiwala sa kanilang kakayahang makamit ang mga layunin. If this initiative is not encouraged, ito ay pinaghihipitan ng mga magulang o guro. Kung gayon, ang bata ay magsisimulang makaramdam ng kababaan sa sarili, pagdududa sa kanyang kakayahan, at sa makatuwid ay maaring hindi maabot ang kanyang potensyal. Again, kailangan ang balanse sa pagitan ng kakayahan at kahinhinan. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of competence.
And next is adolescence, the identity versus confusion. The fifth psychosocial stage takes place during often turbulent teenage of years. This stage plays an essential role in developing a sense of personal identity, which will continue to influence behavior and development for the rest of a person's life. The teenage needs to develop a sense of self and personal identity. Success leads to an ability to stay true to yourself, while failure leads to role confusion and a weak sense of self.
Adolescence. ang panahon ng pagdadalaga at pagbibinata. Ginagalugad ng mga ito ang kanilang pangsarili at nagkakaroon ng pakiramdam sa sarili. This stage that the adolescent will examine his identity and try to find out exactly who she or he is. Halimbawa, ang isang tao ay nagkaroon ng kamalayan sa sariling kasarian. Ako ba ay lalaki, babae, o di kaya naman lalaking kasarian ngunit pambabae ang kalooban? At ganun din naman kung babae ka ngunit panglalaki ang kalooban. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of fidelity, which involves being able to commit oneself to others. Failure to establish a sense of identity within society. Hindi ko alam kung anong gusto ko paglaki ko. Ito ay nauwi sa role confusion. The role confusion involves the individual not being sure about themselves in their place in society.
So, let's move on to the sixth stage of Erikson's human development. So, the early adulthood stage. It occurs from ages from 19 to 40. Their conflict is intimacy versus isolation, while the virtue is love.
This stage involves finding a true romantic and intimate partner in contrast to living alone or, in a short word, isolation. Also, avoiding intimacy, fearing commitment, and relationships can lead to loneliness and sometimes depression.
Erikson defined the virtue for this stage is love. Why? Because we all know in this stage, it involves finding love. Now, let's tackle the seventh stage in psychosocial development. The middle adulthood stage. 40 to 65 years old, wherein the conflict is generativity versus stagnation, and in this stage, adult needs to create or nurture things that will outlaws them, often by having children or creating a positive change that benefits other people.
When we think generativity, it is defined as giving back to the future generation. Ito rin yung times na nai-involve ang pagsisimula ng bagong pamilya, pag-aalaga ng mga anak at ng kanilang mga magulang hanggang sa nakaka-contribute na sila sa kanilang society by their careers. The virtue of this stage is care, because according to Erikson, the success in middle adulthood is about providing care to the important relationship in their lives, katulad ng family and friends. And also, he believed that kapag wala ang mga importanteng tao na nasa paligid mo, it can lead an individual to feel non-productive or tinatawag nating stagnation.
The eighth and last stage of Erikson's psychosocial development is late adulthood. It occurs after the age of 65. The psychosocial crisis for this stage is ego integrity versus despair, while the virtue is wisdom. In this stage, older adults look back on their life and reflect on whether they live a happy and productive life.
Adults who feel good about their experience in life tend to have a lot of experience to draw upon to help and support others in their life. And that is why Erikson defined the virtue of the stage is wisdom. So merong older adults na satisfied na sa kanyang buhay dahil siya ay masaya na, while the others are hindi nila na-experience yung life na inaasam nila. So that's why they feel sad or depressed.
So that's the 8th Erikson's theory of psychosocial stages of development.
And that is the 8 stages of psychosocial development, the theory of Erik Erikson. What are those again? The number 1 stage is infancy. Number 2, toddlerhood. Number 3, early childhood. Number 4, late childhood. Number 5, adolescence. Number 6, early adulthood. Number 7, middle adulthood. And the number 8 is late.
Now, we all know who is Erikson is and his famous theory of psychosocial lifespan development. So I have one question for you. So what is your memorable experience when you encountered those stages? For me, when I was in a toddlerhood or an early childhood stages, dito kasi is pwede ka pang magkamali na walang mang-judge sa inyo. Compare nung tayo ay matanda na at ang mahalaga is i-guide pa nila tayo. So gusto ko rin yung lagi nagtatanong dahil sa stages na ito is punong-puno tayo ng katanungan at curious tayo sa lahat ng bagay. Second is when I was in adolescent stage na kung saan ito na yung nakikipag-socialize na tayo at higit sa lahat is marami na tayong natututunan.
Wow! What's an inspirational message? So, before we end our discussion about human development, we listen first on what Ma'am Reda said. World change first, so that be part of this change.
So that's all for today. Thank you for listening and your cooperation. Until we meet again, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.